Picture this. You have driven a far distance, you've finally maneuvered through the parking garage, you've walked through the doors of the art museum, you've purchased your ticket, and you're walking into the galleries, and you're starting to feel underqualified to look at the art and a little bit confused about what your end goal should be. Is this just for pleasure, for an art enrichment experience, or is this an experience that could take you to the next level in your painting or drawing skills? How can you get there? In this video, I'm going to chat with you about 3 things to keep in mind for your next museum visit so that you make the most out of your time standing in front of these master works, and don't have the inspiration that's abundant within the museum walls slowly trickle away until it's non-existent by the time that you get to your easel back in your studio. The first thing to consider before going to a museum is to plan your visit. Plan your visit. It's very helpful to know what pieces are in the museum that you're going to so that you don't miss them. Most museums, art museums, are quite large, and there's lots of wings, and there's a lot of great art, and there's a lot of bad art. And our feet can get tired, our heads begin to ache after hours of standing and walking around without water or food, and it would be a shame to leave the museum before you've seen the Sargent that's right around the corner, right before you decide that you're going to leave. Plan your visit. For example, I have wanted to go to the St. Louis Art Museum for quite a few years. Last summer, we made a trip out to St. Louis. There are 2 Zorn paintings that are in the collection that I was so excited to see. I made sure to note when I got my map where those paintings would be and made a beeline to get there with at the beginning of my visit so that I had the most energy, focus, and I didn't have a headache or sore feet, so I could really take it all in. So plan your visit if at all possible. The second thing to do when you're now inside this museum is to return to the principles. So often we stand in front of these master paintings, and museums are often jam-packed with amazing painting after amazing painting after amazing painting. And we start to become sort of inoculated to the masterful level of these paintings. I've often wondered, and thought it could be helpful to have a bad painting with poor value structure and composition sprinkled throughout so that we could kind of have it as a palate cleanser, almost like coffee beans are for your nose. And then it struck me that that's perhaps the modern art wing. But returning to the principles will help to not make you become blind to the high quality of the work that you're seeing. Ask yourself painting questions about the principles of painting and drawing when you're standing in front of these works. What is the composition that this artist has used? Aside from the subject matter, once you've been wowed by whatever the subject matter is, go beyond that. How did he arrange the figures in this scene? What is this landscape? How has he arranged the trees and the clouds and the birds off in the distance? What is the composition? What is the shape structure? Take a picture, throw it into black and white to understand it better. Have your sketchbook, do a quick sketch of what the composition is. Then next, what is the value organization? Where are the values the brightest? Where are they the darkest? And how closely are those individual groups staying together? Take note of the value control. Instead of just looking at the painting and saying, that is amazing. Because when you look at a masterwork, it looks easy. It looks obvious, right? You look at a Sargent and it just seems as if, duh, any person would paint this portrait this way because it's just so beautiful. And then you return to your studio and it's a lot harder than it appears in the Sargent painting. Ask yourself questions. Return to the principles. What is the color doing? Where did he put this most vibrant chroma? What color is not in this painting? What are the edges doing? What is the paint quality doing? How is the painting framed? How large is it? How small is it? Why did he choose that? Ask yourself questions about the principles. Okay, the third thing to consider in order to make the most out of your museum visit is to put yourself in the shoes of the artist. Pretend that whatever the work of art is your work of art. What would you, as the creator of this artwork, have to do in order to make it a reality? Would you, in the case of a beautiful Monet painting called The Magpie, which I believe is in Chicago or it's in DC, he had to stand out in very cold weather, a snowy scene, to paint that beautiful piece. Did he do it all from life? I'm not sure, but in order to get that subject matter, he had to, at some point, be out trekking in the cold. Or, for example, El Jaleo by Sargent, which is at the Isabella Stewart Gardner, of the beautiful dancing woman in the white dress, and all of the musicians and other dancers in the background with very strong light coming across the scene. How did he make that enormous painting? It didn't have all of those people sitting there for the duration of the hundreds of hours it would have taken. There's many studies and drawings of the pose of that beautiful dancer showing that he studied the gesture, probably did several planning paintings. There's a planning painting, I believe, of a very similar pose in the National Gallery. The woman's wearing different clothing, but it's the exact same pose. I think he did that one in preparation before he made El Jaleo. Again, put yourself in the shoes of the artist. How would you have had to prepare to make this piece? And in the same token, pretend it's yours. Looking at the portrait by Mancini or Sargent or Sorolla, imagine what they would have seen working from life, whatever the subject matter, portrait, still life, landscape, it doesn't matter. Imagine what they were seeing. It's the exact same real life that you are seeing when you sit down in front of a model, see all of this information that's overwhelming, or you're on location and the leaves are all moving and the bugs are biting you. It was no different for them. Just because it looks like it was easy to paint because they're masters, we sort of get lulled into this false sense of security that it was simple, easy breezy, and it wasn't. So put yourself in their shoes and notice what they edited out. What part of the facial features did they decide not to put in? You know, they saw all of the pores and all of the wrinkles. Where did they decide to glaze that over or really show it? Or in the landscape, what did they dumb down and make secondary? Put yourself in their shoes so that when you're next at the easel making a painting, wherever the location, whatever the subject matter, you have not just looked at the master painting and said, wow, beautiful, I can totally do that because it looks so effortless, and you've taken nothing in. Ask yourself these questions. Plan your visit, return to the principles, and pretend it's yours. Put yourself in their shoes, even to the next level of coming in close to the painting, as close as you can get before the guards inevitably yell at you at least once, as they always do for me, and try to see what layers would they have had to go through, what brushstroke would have been first and which would have been last. I love visiting art museums. It is one of my favorite activities. I don't understand people that think they're boring. It's an invitation to dwell in beauty. Usually there's amazing architecture as well, and usually a really good cafe if you make that part of your visit. I hope you enjoy your next museum visit. Please let me know what your favorite museum in all of the world that you've been to and why is in the comments below. If you've been following along for any period of time, or you've watched some of my past YouTube videos, you will have heard me talk about Broadcasting Brushers, the online life painting group I've started that now over 80 artists, not just here in Indiana or in the United States, but all over the world, have joined to paint together twice a month for 3 hours from a 4K resolution live stream. You can see my painting and my palette throughout the entire 3 hours, and you can also see the model that we're painting together. We're chatting together, not in just the YouTube comments, but through Discord. Artists are sending photos of their work in. It is such a blast. Broadcasting Brushers is hosted through Patreon. You might think something like this is very expensive. It is not. It is very purposefully $18.99 a month, which breaks down to $3 an hour for a live model, which is insane. I don't think there's anything else out there on the market today like broadcasting brushers, especially at this price point. So come join us, try it out, and I'll see you there.